let's go ahead and start with, can you tell me what you were experiencing in your life that led you to connect with Emily?
Yes, I was going through major changes, literally in every area of my life. And I needed direction we had moved from Massachusetts to Florida. I had started a new business here. I have one son that has some health issues, and I was concerned about that, needed direction. We're kind of lost, like, what do we do? Where do we go? And what also brought me to Emily, I've been on a spiritual quest for about a year now. I was never spiritual before this year. I felt once it's over, it's over. And when my dad passed away a year ago, I had signs from him that I thought I imagined. And I've been on this quest, what everybody wants to know. What's more? Why are we here? What's our purpose? What is our soul's purpose? Is this intuition, or am I imagining this? So Emily, I was introduced to her from a friend, and I could tell you that it was life altering, and she's the real deal. And you prompt me, and I'll just answer some questions for you.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Have you ever previously met with anybody else like Emily that shares intuitively your energy work?
Yeah, this past year there was one other person, but she is not an angelic. She doesn't reach the angelic realm. She reaches people that have crossed over. And I really needed to know that what everybody wants to know, that your loved one is okay. Mm-hmm. Are they around? Are they gone forever? Were they in pain? Do they remember the last days? Things like that. Things that are important to us on this earthly plane. But I did have one other reading, but what I had with Emily blew me away, because it was a face-to-face. It was like a Skype meeting like we're on now. Mm-hmm. And she opened the screen, and if you want, I'll just share with you what happened. And she said to me, "Oh my God, I know where I know your face." And I'm like, I've never seen you before. How? She says, since I guess I booked 10 days, there was an older gentleman, a father figure. It was my dad, who died a year ago, kept opening my Facebook page to her, and she kept slamming it down because she didn't want any preconceived ideas or to know anything. He said, because I kept praying to him, "Do you even hear me? Are you around?" And he said, "Share with her hello. Tell her I always hear her. I always am around. I've never left." And he showed her a wheelchair, and she shared very specific things. And she even got his sense of humor. Like, my dad had this kind of like Frank Sinatra kind of smirk. And she said, he's saying he's a real spiritual guy, but he's holding like a glass of wine with a side smirk. And I went, that was his expression. Like, only somebody in the family would know that. Like, yeah, I'm a real spiritual guy, because on earth he wasn't. But now he is. And I knew she had him. And he came through. I had a second reading with her, and he came through again. And she said, that gentleman that kept pulling your Facebook page in front of me, he's here now. And he's telling me he's your dad. And he's very grateful to you she goes, you must have taken care of him at the end. I said, yeah, my sister and I did. And you could see the expression on her face. She was like, oh my God, that was crazy.
That's amazing.
I did meet her in person too, but I met her in person because I brought my son, because after wellness, and there's some missing components, like, why is this medicine not working the way it should? And we can't figure it out. The doctors can't figure it out. So it was this craziest thing. But she said her angels told her he needs this vitamin, this vitamin, this vitamin, this vitamin. And that night we came home, and his nurse came to the house, and she said, I have his blood test results, and it's the exact 4 vitamins that he was severely lacking that was in the IV that they gave him. Not anything else, just those. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I was like.
That's one of the most amazing things I've heard yet. I mean, like,
It's so specific. She goes, he needs B,
wow.
K, and they're showing me a pig or pork, and we couldn't figure it out. She goes, I'm not a doctor, you're gonna have to figure out what that means. So my
Mhm.
son looked it up, and it meant niacin. He's low on niacin, which is not
And
that
that
she's
has to do
recommending
with
pork
pork?
or pig, but yeah, that's what they were showing in a
I didn't
symbol.
know that. I'll tell you something similar to an experience that I had. My first session with her was before I even knew that I was still infected with Lyme disease, the disease that comes from ticks. I'm from New Hampshire. Well, you've heard of that. I had it when I was little. I was treated, kind of got rid of some of it, but I had co-infections.
Yeah.
And the angels told her that I needed to, like, the warning was about carbohydrates and sugar,
Mm-hmm.
that I needed to, like, improve my snacks and to, like, cut back on carbs and sugar.
Wow.
And if you have Lyme disease,
Feeds it.
they actually suggest that you go on, like, a gluten-free, low carb, low sugar diet because the infection feeds off of it.
Yes.
And then I discovered, even after being treated and healed, that I'm like gluten intolerant, and if I overdo it with gluten and wheat or sugar, that it makes me feel like crap.
Yeah.
So, like, the angels knew even before I knew I was sick that I needed to change my diet, and that would help me get through my treatment.
And you know what's so amazing with that too is that she reaches her angels, but she told me I have 5 of yours here. I'm like, I got people? I got people? She goes, you got 5. And
Wow.
she explained to me one thing. I'm an entrepreneur, and
Mhm.
I always have been. And she said, you have 2 of your angels are male. Not that you're masculine, but it takes an alpha part type masculine energy to be an entrepreneur. So 2 of my angels, they are male. Apparently, I haven't been listening to messages, but this
Mhm.
is what's so crazy. She was saying shit to me that the next day she emailed me. She said, I had a dream about you, and you were dancing in capital JOY. And you were, you were in abundance. This is your year to move forward. Well, she didn't know that was my middle name,
What is it?
Joy.
Joy. How about that? And, like, capital letters, like,
It
she
just
literally saw the
dancing
name.
in joy, and she says
Wow.
you're living in doubt, which she's right. You have all the tools that you need. Your father is telling you he's going to help you lift your spirit confidence. You have all the tools you need to move forward in this business. You keep looking for, and the weird thing is, when I met her in person, the one thing I was struggling with is, how do I create a website? I mean, I do it for other people for a living. I'm not a web designer, but I do branding and marketing. That's my business. But when it comes to myself, I was frozen, like decorating my own home, like ugh. And she said, I'm getting a message from your guides, your angels. You create your own avatar so that you don't feel immodest speaking about what your background is, which I was feeling a little uncomfortable about it. Like, it sounded like tooting my own horn, but it was really my bio
Mhm.
and adding credibility. I was frozen. She was right. She goes, you're stuck. She said, and every time you get close, you keep pulling yourself down, and they're telling you to let go. Just go with it. You've got this. You have got this. It's the abundance is there. For some reason, you feel, maybe I felt I didn't deserve something deep in my psyche from childhood. And she taught me to meditate and pray on abundance and health and prosperity, abundance in all areas of my life. And I've been seeing a major shift the
Wow.
past few weeks of things coming my way that I'm not even looking for. And it's affirmation that when our life ends here, whatever religion you advocate, or maybe none at all, the love, the relationships, they go on. Our loved ones look out for us. I never would have believed this a year ago. It gave me hope. It gave me faith. It's you can't even put a price on what this does for you, because without hope and faith, how do you go on? What are you living for? You need that, even if it's a religion that you follow. But this gave me such affirmation because she's very, very specific. Yeah, she even said to me, I didn't tell her anything about myself. She didn't guess. She just said, I'm told you have 2 sons. and your younger one, she just had a knowing. She wasn't, and it wasn't so general where I see you're a mother figure and you have children. It was like she knew me. She is definitely like an angel on earth too. And she is definitely being guided. It was really unbelievable. Even my husband half was listening, typing in the background. He was like, whoa.
Like that's me,
He
that
goes,
recognition,
yeah,
that kind
because
of thing.
like she described like the smirk, my dad,
Mm-hmm.
and he
Mm-hmm.
goes, she got Stan. Yeah, that's his name. All right, she got him. That's him. And I said, that's him. Only somebody that knows his personality. It's not in any photos. It's not anywhere. You just have to know him. Whether you need guidance in business, you don't even have to tell him what you need guidance in.
Yep.
Her
He will just know.
angels, your guides,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to come through. They have a knowing. They know what you need. And it's very, very specific. And she's someone I hope to have in my life for the rest of my life, because sometimes, life is like a roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you have the downslope. You want to know how, okay, am I supposed to ride this out? What am I supposed to do here? Do I sit back? So she's someone almost even to touch base with.
Coaching is such a popular thing, and then when you add the element of her divine connection and the angels to it, it's like it just
She was real. One other thing I do want to share, just to give you, I'm trying to give an example of how specific she was, that kind of blew me away with my son. When we were in person and met with her 2 weeks ago, before the meeting, he was having a problem with one of his eyes. It was from his condition, and it was like really irritating him. And she's sitting there during the reading, and she said to me, "I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude to my son." She says, "But my left eye, that was his eye." She goes, "It's like really bothering me." And she said, "Is your eye bothering you?" And he wasn't like blinking. He goes, "Yeah." She says, "All right, you're going to get healed now." Not that she healed it, but she asked for guidance. And it was the weirdest thing. But within like 5 minutes, the pain was gone. Maybe his guides helped him. I don't know. But he only shared that with me. And I didn't know because he wasn't blinking. I had no way. He goes, "It's like shooting pain. It's from his condition."
Even before healing process can take place, there can be an energetic shift, and you can sometimes feel it.
Yeah.
Before it's even like
she
really
felt it.
here.
She felt it. Yeah, it was I don't know, it was unbelievable to me, because I mean, it could be anything. I never all I told her was that he has some health issues we're dealing with, but I wasn't specific. Just to see what would come up, and I didn't want to misconstrue anything. So she got it, and he's been feeling better right after that vitamin infusion. I mean, he felt much better. It was that night. Yeah. It blew us away. It really blew us away. To see it like validated that the nurse is showing you those exact vitamins, and my husband's like, "Anything else?" She goes, "No, just these 4. Just that was it."
That's it. Just to get that balance.
Yeah. So what I've learned with Emily is that we're not alone, and the more we can get ourselves at a higher vibrational level with joy. I think it's joy and love is the top, right? I think that's the top vibration. I've learned that. I've been researching, and it's not easy to always get there. But if you can get there, you become, I think, more enlightened, more aware of those around you, those that love, those of signs of. After speaking with her, meeting with her, I've been getting affirmation after affirmation. I even sent her a few texts. I'm like, "This is shaped like a heart. I was just wondering if my angels were around." And all of a sudden, I got part of my screen enclosure, which broke off from Hurricane Irma, and we were having it fixed. It was all shards, but all of a sudden, there's a broken heart. There's a heart. Because I said, "Are you really around?" And I said, are you hearing me? Am I talking to myself? And all of a sudden I step on a heart. So I save it and put it in a Ziploc, put it away. And then the next day I had the same thought as I was praying and meditating on abundance, on prayers, on confidence, on everything I needed. And then again, I step on another heart. That was not a coincidence. I have two.
And now, do you know that Emily frequently finds hearts throughout her life and she'll post them?
No, I should show you
Oh,
what it looks like.
I thought for sure like you would have seen her
No, I
pictures.
didn't know that. Even
That's
the
something
day,
that she
I
connects to
never
as
knew
well.
that.
I think she calls them angel winks.
Well, oh yes. And you know something? The day I met with her, I said to my son on the way home, I'm starved out of my mind. I just want to get an ice cream. So I ran in, and because she was telling me that my angels want me to live my life in joy. In fact, joy should be my avatar to create my new website. And I pick up an ice cream cone. And of course, yes, it's the holiday season, but still, there were a lot of cones. And the cone was wrapped, and what's wrapped around it? Joy. And in the O was a heart, where the
Oh,
heart is. Speaking with Emily without sounding corny is as close to touching the divine as one can get. There's something, whether you're agnostic or atheist, but there is something spiritual and godlike in her presence, in and the way that she gets messages and she says thank you and she's appreciative. And if there is an angel on earth, she is one. She's among them. You know, she has an amazing heart too. So she's been a blessing in my life. That's all I have to say.
if you could pick like one thing, what would you say is the best thing about the experience you had?
The best thing about the experience for me was knowing, of course, Emily has her angels and guides.
Mhm.
And frankly, I never felt I had them, or I didn't know, or I didn't feel worthy, or for different reasons. I know for certain I have them. And I know that I can change my life starting today, at any age, at any time. I also learned from her that my soul's purpose was what I'm doing. It is what I'm doing, and to follow it. And she told me that doors will open. She says, when you're not going to have to push for things to happen, it's going to just go by what you think is your intuition. A lot of times it's your guide. So what it gave me is hope and faith. And it really, I can't even, you can't even put a value to this. You know, I mean, I wish I was a billionaire, because there's no amount of money that you can even put for a message from higher power. I mean, how do you even thank her for something like this? There isn't enough gratitude in my heart for what she's given to me and to my son and to my family. So thank you, Emily. Really.
Well, what you're doing right now is the best thing that you can give back.
It's real. It's so real. You feel it. You feel it in your heart, because she touches on things you don't tell anyone. The greatest gift that you can give yourself, whatever you're going through in this life, or even if you're going on a great path, is at the very least, if you can't do it at this point, a retreat with her, a conversation, consult. You will have guidance and hope that it will blow you away. And I, like I said, I've had a couple readings this year, and they were good, but they were not this specific, and things that you think in your mind that you don't even share with your spouse. Maybe it's doubts, fears. I haven't shared with anyone. She pulled it right out. She knew, but she also had a solution and a resolution. She doesn't just pull out, okay, you're dealing with this issue. There is a resolution. You leave feeling elated. You leave feeling, even my son walked out feeling like we were like literally a cartoon character dancing on a cloud, because I'm like, we looked at each other and we went, and we're both jaded and we're both like, oh my God, like, holy cow. He goes, that was the real deal. I said, well, you met angels early. You know they exist. You know there's more. There's so much more than what we see. That's how I want to end. There is so much more. We're being helped. We're being guided. Never stop praying. That's something else I've learned.